All right, so in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to prep your initial project for cutting using our Silhouette cutting machines. You'll have to ignore my background being overwhelmed with clutter. So go down to the Applications folder, and I'm going to have you find the piece of software that's called Silhouette Studio. It'll take a moment for it to open on your first time, and that's okay. um, it has to initialize and get ready to do parts of the things that we're going to be doing. So the Silhouette Studio is a piece of software that allows you to take images and get them ready for our cutting machines. And so I'm going to show you some of the basic things that you're going to need to be able to do to help create your first design for getting cut. So this is under the assumption that you saved your initial project to your computer. If you haven't done that yet, you need to finish it and then save it as a PNG file, like download it to your computer. So if you click on this little open button, which looks like a folder that's opening up, find your initial project located on your computer. Most of you, it should be in either your documents or your downloads folder. Um, and so find it inside there. It's going to be a PNG image. So whatever you saved it as, it should pop up and you'll be able to see its little image when you open it up. All right. So a couple things that we're going to need to do. First of all, you're going to need to adjust the design page settings for our cutting machine. So if this page does not pop up automatically, click on this icon up here that says open the design page settings window when I hover over it. And we're going to need to do some adjustments. Okay. First of all, change where it says the cutting mat. Change that to, if you click, you want to have it be on portrait. Okay. So a portrait is a slightly thinner mat, and it's going to make it so that you don't have to worry about things not really fitting on here. Okay. The other thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to have the width be 8 inches. Oops, 8 inches, and the height be, apparently it just wants to zoom in. The height, I want the height to be uh, 12 inches. Okay, so if the width is 8 and the height is 12, it's going to make it look like this thing right here. Okay, um, so now that the white section is right around the edge of the where that little red line is, it's going to be all lined up, and so now we're going to be able to start making some modifications. So if you hover over your initial design, if I click on it, it will bring out an outline of the image itself. And if you notice, right now it thinks it's 2.4 inches long, all the way from the top up here, all the way down here, and 3 inches or 3.2 inches across. This little thing is actually a lot smaller than that, so we're going to have to make a couple of adjustments. First of all, let's make it a little bit bigger. All right, you are going to want this thing to be big enough so that it's easy for it to be removed when you cut it, but small enough so that you can actually do stuff with it. If you make your image too big, your sticker will be a little too big to manage. The vinyl is not stiff enough for these stickers to just be like holding in one hand if they have all of these little cuts on there. You can make an adjustment to this later, so if you don't like the size of yours before we cut, you can have a couple different sizes to use. So once you have that, kind of a little bit of a larger size, I'm going to click on this little green button up here. It looks like a butterfly if you get close to the screen to look at it. And what it is it's the trace window, okay? Now the trace window is going to give us, it's going to recognize where there is color and where there is not color. So if I click on select trace area, it's going to change the cursor to being this little crosshair. And I'm going to click and drag it around the outside. If you do so, it'll make exactly what we're looking for. If you make some sort of mistake, you can always click on that X and try it again. You have to go back over and select the select trace area. Okay. Now, when I did this, it creates this kind of yellowy, bordery outline on there, and it's kind of important for us to make sure that we are designating the outline of the image. So you're going to want to uncheck this box that says high pass filter. Okay. Um, if you notice, when I unchecked that box that said high pass filter, it it did a little something weird to the the design up here, and I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. Of course, I had to move everything around. When you have it selected, you see how it kind of has this weird-ish issue with the color. You want to make sure that your shape is all filled in with that yellow, which is why we uncheck that high pass filter button. Okay. Next, you click on the thing that says trace. Okay. And it'll make everything go away. And if you look closely, you'll see a slight red border around your image. I'm going to click on my letter and I'm going to pull it away, and you can see how it leaves this sort of red line behind. I'm actually going to do something pretty simple. It's going to make it a little easier to see. I'm going to click back on my image and I'm going to press the delete button and make it disappear. Okay. So I want you to think about this red outline as this is what it's going to cut out of the piece of paper. So imagine if this white background is like a giant piece of paper, and this little red line is going to be what it cuts out. So it's going to cut out along this edge right here and leave everything else behind. If you didn't uncheck the high pass filter, it might make two lines that go all the way around, which is actually going to make your project really kind of crazy if you don't deal with that. You're going to only want to have one red line outline. So you see how the size of my image is 1 inch by 1.5 inches, which if you look at a ruler, that's really tiny, okay? So you might want to make this a little bit bigger so that you can actually do something with it, okay? So I don't want you to cut out a single image using our vinyl machines, because that would be a gigantic waste of the vinyl. So I'm going to make a couple copies of this and paste it on top of this page. So I'm going to press Command C to copy it, right? And then Command V to paste it. And then you can click and you can move this over. You can make another copy by just pressing Command V to paste it again. So there's still some space in between each of the letters. You don't want these things to be crazy close, because on occasion, when you are using the cutting machine, if the little knife aspect of the cutter moves even a millimeter off to the side, it's going to make your sticker look crazy. Hopefully, it'll only mess up the one sticker that it's being worked on, and then it'll continue to make the rest of the stickers um, okay when it's cutting. So I'm going to have several of these copies. I'm going to move them around to kind of give them the space that they need. So I'm looking to make, at least 6 or so of these images. The other thing I want you to keep in mind, don't have them really close to the edge. You see how much space I have around the edge right there? That is just in case the size of the vinyl that you use um, is not exactly the same size as the color, or as the mat that we put in the silhouettes. It's not going to have half your sticker go right off the edge, and then you are left with something that looks rather like junk. So now this is ready to go. When it comes to printing them, the actual sticker, I'm going to show you how to do that in another video. But what I would like you to do is I want you to save this Silhouette Studio project, and what you'll be saving when you go to save is it's going to save it as a Silhouette Studio document. And if you save it in this format, it's going to make it so that we can transfer this to other computers, like the ones that actually have the Silhouette Studio printers attached to them, and then we can access them there. So I'm going to save this as um, initial project, but I want to make sure that my name is in there so that I can find this if there's a giant list of these sticker projects saved. I'll be able to find my specific one on the computer that I'm looking at. So I'm going to save this project, and it's going to create a file that looks like that nice little giant S, and we're going to be able to use that for what we need later on when we're ready to cut. So when you're done with that, fantastic, you have your sticker project ready to go.